Other commonly used tools for drawing include editing tools such as trim, extend, chamfer, and fillet. So to show these, I'm going to switch over to my standard tab and draw a few line segments. I'm going to draw two lines that are intersecting each other, and I'm going to draw another line over here off to its own on the right side. I'm going to go back to my Curve Tools tab and look at the trim command first. So I'm going to select the trim tool icon, and for this command we need to select the cutting objects. So if I want to trim this vertical line, I can select the horizontal line as my cutting object, and I'm going to press enter, and now select the side of the curve that I want to trim. So if I want to trim the top part of this curve and keep the bottom part, I'm going to select this top part of the curve, and now I've trimmed that to this horizontal line, and I'll press enter when done. The opposite of that is extending geometry. So again, under my Curve Tools tab, I'm going to select this tool, which is the Extend Curve tool. So I'll extend this, and for this I'm going to choose the option to extend this curve to a boundary. So I'm going to select boundary. I'm going to select this line over here on the right as my boundary and press enter, and I want to extend this line to this boundary. So I'm going to select this curve now, and now when I press enter, you can see I've extended it to this boundary. Two other tools that kind of combine trimming and extending are chamfering and filleting. Chamfering will it's a good tool for creating corners. If we look at this chamfer curves tool, I can select this, and by selecting the distance, we can actually determine whether this chamfer is at an angle or whether it's at a sharp corner. When our distances are set to 0, 0, then we're gonna get a sharp corner. If we change these distances, then we're gonna get a kind of chamfered corner. So I'm gonna leave these at 0, 0 so that we have just a right angle or a sharp corner. And if I select my first curve to chamfer and this other curve is my second curve to chamfer, now you can see that we have this kind of corner condition here. An alternative to that is creating a fillet. So when we fillet curves, we're creating corners, but this time with a rounded corner or a curve that's defined with a radius. So let's say our radius is, in this case, 1/4 of an inch. I'm going to select my first curve to fillet, my second curve to fillet, and if I zoom in here, you can see that I now have this kind of rounded corner. So if I repeat that command again, fillet, I'm going to select a different radius. Maybe this time I'll select 1 inch. I'll select this curve here as my first curve, this other one is my second curve, and now we're kind of seeing this a little more at a larger scale. So we have this 1 inch radius, and now you can kind of see our filleted corners. So editing lines and curves with trim, extend, fillet, and chamfer are some of the common ways of editing line work.